solar, sustainable businesses, localization, small farms, etc. And our portfolio continued to grow very heavily in solar world, starting to work with like Sun Edison and large-scale corporate clients, as well as cutting-edge solutions. We did the rebranding and repackaging of all of their work, and eventually some of our corporate clients started looking at our portfolio, seeing their project and then some big cannabis project or hydro project right next to it, and they were like, what are we with the pot company? And so we decided that it was time for us to do some positioning for ourselves, and we couldn't decide between sustainability and cannabis. So we launched our subsidiary agency, which Sunground is also a subsidiary of a larger packaging company, and took all of our portfolio work and everything that we've been doing in cannabis over the years and started the Hybrid Creative. And it has been overwhelmingly warmly received. It's been a really positive experience. And we call ourselves Northern California's homegrown agency because myself and our creative director, Laurel Gregory, both are second generation in it. I believe that this region really is going to be the national and global leader in how the industry expands and defines itself. We've been watching these other states as they've been legalizing and paying close attention, and I think we're about to do it right, hopefully. So it's an honor to be here, and I'm really happy to be a part of this.
So I think that you each have a brief presentation to give and then launch any questions. Is that right? I'm kind of thinking that we start with sort of the creative,
sure,
which is that we go into more of the compliance insofar as your actual packaging is concerned, and then we'll go in. She's sort of going to combine the legal of both of these areas and why do we need the legal over some specific legal compliance issues. So do you want to start with a brief, and then I have lots of questions that I think we'll take a break in the audience.
I can. Okay. I could do a slideshow, but instead we decided that we were going to bring a bunch of samples. So that table, you're welcome to kind of get up during the presentation and look at the pieces at the table. I'll probably refer to them and bring them up and maybe pass some stuff around. There's nothing like actually getting your physical hands on it. Rob also brought some great packaging samples of some of the work that they're doing and child-proofing examples. So feel free to get up and grab stuff as we go. Sure, sure. I believe, first of all, the part of the packaging and branding and what have you that we bring to the table is the creative and the idea side. There's a lot of legal implications and a lot of things that we have to be cautious of as we're advising our clients. But the first thing that we do when it comes to actually to the legal line is we say that we can't give that advice. Designers and marketers should really steer clear of the legal advice. So you hit a line and you're like, this is the time where you need to go and talk to your attorney. This is where you need to go and actually get your trademark protected. You know, we think this is going to be protectable, or we think maybe your fine print on your packaging is within compliance, but don't take our word for it. Get the lawyer to approve it. So I'm not going to really get into the legal side of packaging and MRSA and what needs to be on, and I'm going to leave that for the folks that are more qualified to do so. I believe that right now we're in the wild west of this industry in two major ways, legally and creatively. The cannabis industry has been defined by High Times Magazine and Cheech and Chong for so long that now that the laws are changing, you have all these people that really truly believe in the products that they're creating and the agriculture that they're working in, or the way in which they grow their plants or run their farm or create their products, that are generally pretty creative people because they've been smoking a lot of weed for a long time. And they finally have permission to create a brand, to identify themselves, to step out of those stereotypes and create something that is really truly and uniquely them. And I couldn't imagine a more exciting time to be in the design and branding and marketing side of this, because now you have folks, like for example, visual aid. So here's one of our clients. This is FloraCal Farms. They're a flower producer. They got picked up here by River Distribution, and they wanted to create labels that were like beautiful fine wine labels. with foil stamped and embossing, and the labels end up going on custom-made bags that a pound of flour goes in and sits on the shelf. We have clients that are creating their identity as steampunk designs, as you know, beautiful kind of indie style designs, very medicinal design, very recreational X Games user designs, and each person gets to go through this process of kind of business soul searching and really identifying who they are. And I feel so honored to be able to be a part of that soul searching process. We do it every day with people, and a lot of people don't really understand the difference between a logo and a brand. And they don't really understand what it means to develop a brand. And they think that it's just designing a cool looking icon and putting it on a package and getting it out there. One of the things that when they come to that place, let's say you have somebody, they made a great design, they made a package, they slapped it on their product, and they're ready to go to market. We call that getting your be-do-say out of order. When a business has their be-do-say out of order, it's very difficult. You can end up in situations like, for example, if you've created a name and you've gone to market with it and you paid a bunch for all your packaging and your website and everything like that, and you find out that there's a trademark conflict with another company that has that. Because your be-do-say has been out of order, you've been saying before you've been and done, you can end up in a real challenging situation. And that's one of the things that people are starting to pay closer attention to, is making sure that they take the right steps. Getting be-do-say out of order happens within all sorts of industries. A good example is British Petroleum, BP. A long time ago, they went through a whole rebrand of their company, created this whole green ethos to them, created their cool sun, yellow and green sun image, and really tried to put themselves out there as like the sustainable, conscious oil company. But they didn't actually put that into the principles in the way that they run their drilling. And as you saw with the Deepwater Horizon catastrophe, it totally blew up in their face and completely exposed them for greenwashing their business. That's getting your be-do-say out of order. On a much smaller level, everyone has to make sure that they launch their product or go to market within the proper sequence. Your B is identifying who you are. It's really crystallizing what are the values, what are the principles, what are the cultural influences, what are the artistic influences that really identify you and differentiate you. Your do is you make sure, like let's say we believe in, we're an organic company that uses no volatile extraction methods, it's all CO2, we try to go as natural as possible. Well, if that's what you're going to put out to the world, you have to absolutely make sure that everything down your entire production line follows that principle, because it could blow up in your face if you don't. What if you, if you're driving a Hummer around town, but you're also claiming to be an ecological business, it affects the perception of your brand. Your brand is every piece and every little bit in which somebody actually comes into contact with your business. Not just your logo, not just the product itself, it's the perception. And keeping that in high integrity and making sure you follow it through from beginning to end is the way in which you're going to launch a high integrity brand, which if you look at the brands that are out there right now, the ones that are really successful are the high integrity ones. They're the ones that people connect with, they're the ones that people trust, they're the ones that they tell their friends about, they're the ones that they believe in. Look at a company like Care by Design. And if you go to their website and you look at the testimonials that are all over their website, it's mind-boggling. They're one of our clients, and when they recently had this the legal trouble that they went into, I don't know if you know, but they got raided. We started working on a PR campaign, just sharing what's going on and sharing the stories of their users. And we created a ton of these little social memes. And for me, just going through and reading testimonial after testimonial after testimonial of people who this product has dramatically helped their lives, healed their lives in some way. In some the testimonials, they claim it saved their lives. That's high integrity brand, and that's the kind of thing that people are going to be dedicated to, and they're going to resonate with, and stick around with and share with their community. They have their be-do-say in order. It's a perfect example. Yeah, I can stop there. That's a good point. Yeah, there's more to be said.
I'm gonna move him on.
There we are.
I've got lots of really good questions. And so Rob, why don't you talk a little bit about where packaging kind of fits into this whole dynamic, and for a few minutes, and then we'll
Definitely. So yeah, I mean, packaging often is kind of forgotten in the process. People, have this great product, and they think people are just gonna, see it and love it. And you think about, other products that are out there, and that's where I kind of try to help people understand is just think about the other industries that have food products or cosmetics or anything else. How do you, when you go to a store, how do you decide on what you're going to select? And oftentimes it's a story that is told through the packaging. So, you have that opportunity to establish your brand. So, turning to somebody, a firm that understands, branding and can help you take your story and put it out there. And packaging is just a piece of that story. And within packaging, there's lots of details, and we focus on the manufacturing. We're in Oakland. We have a lot of experience, so we can have you come into the facility. You can see the manufacturing process. But as a cultivator, as a producer, a product, you have so many things to worry about. So let us help you with that part of it, with the packaging. But we always think about how not only is it perceived, your product through your packaging, but what you tell through the way that you package. So we really try to focus on sustainable packaging. So we're using paper-based packaging, which is made from recycled materials and is compostable and recyclable. All the processes that we do, we're using soy-based inks, we're using water-based coatings, so you can achieve, really good aesthetics without, having, an environmental nightmare in front of you as far as your package. Because, it's all about the perception. If you're, release something in plastic and, that's kind of tied in with your product, then, maybe that's not the story you want to tell. So I think it's important to have packaging reflect your brand or your product and your story as a whole. And a couple of things that have drawn me into the industry. The company that I work for, they really focus on eliminating styrofoam and reducing plastic. So one example that you might have seen out there is Monterey mushrooms. So if you go in and you buy mushrooms at Safeway or Costco, pretty much everywhere, it used to be in a blue styrofoam container. And for them, branding, marketing-wise, they just had basically a postage stamp size sticker that they put on the top of the styrofoam and plastic package. And people, didn't know who they were buying it from. And we helped them, gosh, it's like 5 years ago now, switch over to a paper-based product that they could actually print on. So their packaging, they can tell their story. And when people pick up their packaging, they realize that, it's something that's sustainable versus styrofoam. So it's really helped them, build their brand and really take over the mushroom industry, which, for us maybe doesn't really matter, but you think about, the cannabis industry, there's so much opportunity, and how are you going to differentiate yourself? There's a lot of ways you're going to do it. Obviously, a great product, but packaging is one piece of that story that you tell and one piece of your success. So, I just hope that people would take the time to think a little bit more about it, and I definitely invite you to come to our facility in Oakland. We're right across from the Coliseum, and you can come and see, what we have available, and we have structural designers who can help you design from ground zero. You don't have to come in with an idea. You can just have a product or a concept of a product and really help you take you through that process. So.
Great, thanks. I'm actually going to take a little bit of a left turn before letting you talk. I have some questions that have arisen as a result of both of what you guys are saying. The first is, so Zach, you mentioned, you go really far into your sort of trademark selection, brand selection, and then you run it by a local lawyer, and lo and behold, it turns out maybe that brand name wasn't available for you. So can you talk about a little bit about what that means for a lawyer to come and tell you, oh, you're going to have to change your brand name or your trademark, and then after she's done, let's circle back and go back to you about what that means to go back to the drawing board if you've done part of your redo say, but now all of a sudden someone isn't there.
Yeah, and we've even had an iterative experience because with a client we didn't know Zach at the time who we were sharing that we were saying, no, I can't do that, go back to your design, no, I can't do that, go back.